Today I'm throwing caution, blurbs and back cover summaries to the wind because this is the quick to judge tag. I've grabbed a stack of unread books off my shelves and I'm doing what we're told not to do, judging them by their first paragraphs. My name is Jim, this is my channel, Books, Reading and Stuff. The quick to judge book tag or challenge was created a few years ago by Ali Rizdal, who I don't think is any longer active on BookTube, but it was recently revived by Jess, Book Girl TV, and I was tagged by Daniella at Uncommon Reader. And the idea of this tag is to take 5 to 10 unread books from your shelves. I have 6. Rank the books based on the first paragraphs. Add your highest ranked book to your upcoming TBR and then tag someone else. Okay, let's start. First book I've got here is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This is a copy that's falling apart. I got it very cheaply because of its condition. I've read Sharp Objects. I haven't read Gone Girl. First paragraph. I have a meanness inside me, real as an organ. Slit me at my belly and it might slide out, meaty and dark, drop on the floor so you could stomp on it. It's the day blood. Something's wrong with it. I was never a good little girl, and I got worse after the murders. Little orphan Libby grew up sullen and boneless, shuffled around a group of lesser relatives, second cousins and great aunts and friends of friends, stuck in a series of mobile homes or rotting ranch houses all across Kansas. Me going to school in my dead sister's hand-me-downs, shirts with mustardy armpits, pants with baggy bottoms, comically loose, held on with a raggedy belt, circled to the farthest hole. In class photos, my hair was always crooked. Barrettes hanging loosely from strands as if they were airborne objects caught in the tangles. And I always had bulging pockets under my eyes. Drunk landlady's eyes, maybe a grudging curve of the lips where a smile should be. Maybe. Intriguing. I do like psychological thrillers. This sounds quite dark, as the title also might suggest. Second book, historical fiction, The Dwelling Place by Catherine Cookson. When I worked at Slough Public Library way back in the 1980s, Catherine Cookson was probably our most popular author. We could barely put the books back on the shelves and someone would take them out again. The cottage had 2 rooms. It was one of 10 in the hamlet of Heatherbrook in the county of Durham, and up to 2 hours ago it had housed 13 members of the Brodie family. Now 3 of them were dead. Cissy Brodie stood in the dim light of the death-smelling room and looked at the bodies of her parents, dressed in white calico shifts, lying side by side on the platform bed, and at their feet, hardly longer than 4 bare souls, lay the baby. And her 15-year-old brain was refusing to take in the situation. That's quite a harrowing start to this one. Third, The Beekeeper of Aleppo. I was attracted to this for the title. Aleppo is in Syria. I have an Armenian friend in Aleppo. This has won some literary prize here. First paragraph. I am scared of my wife's eyes. She can't see out, and no one can see in. Look, they are stones, grey stones, sea stones. Look at her. Look how she's sitting on the edge of the bed, her nightgown on the floor, rolling Mohammed's marble around in her fingers and waiting for me to dress her. I'm taking my time putting on my shirt and trousers because I am so tired of dressing her. Look at the folds of her stomach, the colour of desert honey, darker in the creases, and the fine silver lines on the skin of her breasts, and the tips of her fingers with the tiny cuts where the ridges and valley patterns once were stained with blue or yellow or red paint. Her laughter was gold once. You would have seen as well as heard it. Look at her, because I think she is disappearing. Oh. These stories sound a bit bleak so far. Another book I picked up from Tbilisi book swap was Burning Bright by Tracy Chevalier. I've read her book Remarkable Creatures about Mary Anning and about fossil hunting in the 19th century. I noticed also Daniella with her books had a Tracy Chevalier amongst them. There was something humiliating about waiting in a cart on a busy London street with all your possessions stacked around you on show to the curious public. Jem Kellaway sat by a tower of Windsor chairs his father had made for the family years ago and watched aghast as passers-by openly inspected the cart's contents. He was not used to seeing so many strangers at once. The appearance of one in their Dorsetshire village would be an event discussed for days after, and to being so exposed to their attention and scrutiny. He hunkered back among the family belongings, trying to make himself less conspicuous. A wiry boy with a narrow face, deep-set blue eyes, and sandy fair hair that curled below his ears. Jem was not one to draw attention to himself, and people peered more often at the family's belongings than at him. A couple even stopped and handed items as if they were at the barrow squeezing pears to see which was the ripest. The woman fingering the hem of a nightdress that poked out of a split bag. The man picking up one of Thomas Kellaway's saws and testing the teeth for sharpness. Even when Jem shouted, "Hey!" he took his time setting it down again. Another intriguing beginning. Fourth, I have Richard Osman, The Bullet That Missed. Part of a Saturday Murder Club mystery. I know Richard Osman from the podcast he does with Marina Hyde. Now that's entertainment, which is very entertaining about books, film, theatre, things like this, TV. But I haven't read any of his books yet. But he is a bestseller. Bethany waits, understands there's no going back now. Time to be brave and to see how this all plays out. Life is about understanding opportunities, understanding how rarely they come along, and then rising to meet them when they do. Come and meet me. I just want to talk. That's what the email had said. She had been playing it over in her mind ever since. Should she? Should she indeed? Intriguing. And finally, a horror, Living Death by Graham Masterton. As soon as she came teetering out of the doorway of the Eclipse Club in her short black dress and her spiky ankle boots, her eyes circled with scarlet makeup and her hair dyed luminous green, they knew that she was exactly what they were looking for. It was 2:25 in the morning. She was very drunk, and it appeared as if she might be on her own. She fumbled in her orange Hessian bag, which had the wickedly grinning face of a pumpkin stretched onto it, and eventually managed to find her mobile phone. Sounds like she's in for a nasty surprise. Okay, I've got an order from those first paragraphs. This one, with Jem on the cart and the people looking at his belongings, intrigues me. I like historical fiction. This is set in the 18th century. Dark Places sounds very dark. But I'm going through a phase of reading a lot of psychological thrillers at the moment, and this, again, these all intrigue me. Richard Osman, The Bullet That Missed. and wonder what happens next. Catherine Cookson. It sounds a very difficult start, but it sounds like it'll be a good story. I'm sure, Catherine Cookson is a great storyteller. Then The Beekeeper of Aleppo. It's a Middle Eastern vibe here. And finally, The Living Death. It sounds intriguing, like they all do, but I'll put this one last. I will leave a list of taggies in the notes below. And if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up. This will help me with the YouTube algorithm. And I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye.